Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. Welcome back to yet another live broadcast on your favorite football at this channel. It's a pleasure to be back with you on this beautiful Saturday night, the 18th of April, 2026. It's a half past the hour of 11 p.m. that we do come live to you. And as we speak, we are following up on the updates from the Manchester United versus Chelsea game, where Man United are leading by goal to nil thanks to that strike by Matheus Cunha. Whereas Chelsea have hit the crossbar twice, the post this time twice thus far in this game. In other words, it's not been due to a lack of chances, but rather due to a failure to convert the chances that they have created thus far in the game. But Chelsea have been quite dominant in this particular tie. Nonetheless, the score sheet is not reflective of what is transpired thus far. We'll get to talk about what happened elsewhere. Tottenham Hotspur squandering a 2-1 lead that could have won them 3 massive points. But eventually they had to settle for just a mere point in their 2-2 draw against Brighton and Hove Albion, as Roberto Di Zerbi came off with his former bosses of Brighton and Hove Albion. So all that is happening. There's a particular incident, one that I did not watch in real time, involving Calvin Bassey in the Brentford Fulham game, where Calvin Bassey's hair was appeared or to have been pulled, but no red card was given. And yet, Paul Tierney, who was in charge of the Manchester United Leeds game, in which Lisandro Martinez had a pull on appeared to have a pull on Dominic Calvert-Lewin's ponytail, and subsequently was given a red card. So there was that, so all that has been happening. As we speak, Atalanta and Roma are also sharing the spoils at the moment in a 1-1 draw. That game is close to its finish. It's around the 89th minute as we speak. So plenty of action ongoing. For those of you that are just joining us, I say welcome to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is my name. Do me one absolute honor and favor, unlike this broadcast, but also if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel and help us continue on our journey of growth. Every little piece of action that you take to support this channel is very, very much appreciated. So please, it won't hurt your fingers. Leave me a like on the broadcast, It won't harm your fingers. Trust me. Take my word for it. But anyways, so we'll be, keeping up to speed with those very items, those very updates from the Man United game, as well as that of, Roma and Atalanta. That game is crucial because if Roma are to win here, they could leapfrog Como in the pursuit for Champions League football. Isato Bar says Bar X 5G. Hi Bar, how are you doing, my brother? Where are you joining us from? Oh, apologies for I don't know whether you're a sir or a madam, but whatever you are, wherever you are, I do appreciate you joining the broadcast. I know many of you are still busy trying to watch that game between Manchester United and Chelsea. I'm equally following up on it. So I understand if you have any hesitation whatsoever to submit in a comment when it comes to the particular game. But nonetheless, you can still let me know what you have made of it thus far. What do you think Chelsea need to improve? What have you made of Garnacho? What have you made of Liam Delap? What have you made of Enzo Fernandez on his return after a 2-game suspension? Garnacho was brought on in the first half after Willian Esteban was forced off through an injury. So let me know what have you made of those performances on the Manchester United side. Have you been impressed? Nusa Mazaroi playing in the centre back with Aiden Heaven. I think they've done okay. They had sort of a moment of a scare that could have culminated into a penalty in the first half, but it was deemed to be a foul outside the area. And since Oliver Michael Oliver had not given it, VAR were not obligated to intervene for what would have been a resultant free kick. So that's been some of the gist of the things that have transpired thus far in as far as this broadcast, in as far as that particular game is concerned, okay, then what else? So yeah, okay. My prediction was a 2-1 victory for Chelsea, but so far they are letting me down. They are yet to see the back of the net. It's not to say that they can still not clinch it, but they're still missing chances. Man United haven't needed many chances to go ahead. So those of you that are just joining us, kindly like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel. Robert K. Sackos is my name, and I come to you live from Kampala, Uganda. It's one of the most frequently asked questions on the channel. Where are you from? I'm from Kampala, Uganda. At Chelsea, that bad, or Man United, that good? So, all right. Lisa, hi Lisa. How are you, Lisa? Where are you joining us from? Lisa, is that the full name? Lisa Pearson? Oh, you remind me of Jessica Pearson from the famous TV series Suits, Cleveland, Ohio. I was about to say your name is synonymous with the USA, and just like that, you said from Cleveland, Ohio. Oh, that's is that where Thingy is from? Steve Harvey? I know I've watched a couple of previous episodes of Steve Harvey, and he sort of speaks highly of having grown up in Cleveland, Ohio. Is that, oh, okay. Looks like my geography or my recollection of a few facts about the USA are not that bad. So how is Ohio? How is Ohio? How is Cleveland? I remember there's a particular show where they named one of the streets after him. He's such a big household name in as far as TV is concerned. Why Chelsea all trying to score some fancy goal? You say raining now, and I think it's like 65 degrees. Oh, wow. Well, it's been raining over the last couple of days here in Uganda. Literally every single day we've had some rains, especially in the morning hours, but it's all good. Uganda is that sort of country where it rains in the morning, shines in the afternoon, or shines in the morning and then rains in the afternoon. Basically, that's just about it. So, don't think that would have counted. Okay, that's good. That's good to hear. So, Lisa, do you love any particular sport? Are you in love with any particular sport? Because on the Football Tribe UG channel, we are in love with football. The game between Roma and Atalanta has just wrapped up. That game has ended in a 1-1 draw. Gianpiero Gasperini on his return to face off with to face off with his former bosses of Atlanta. So, Lisa, while you're still with us, kindly do me a favor and like the broadcast if you haven't already, but also consider subscribing to the channel. I would appreciate that a great deal. So, and to all our new subscribers, welcome to the channel. Meanwhile, you're not missing much practically, but like I said, I do feel that, oh, Jesus Christ, how did I miss this one? How did I forget to tune in? We are having the finals of the Copa del Rey. I thought the game was tomorrow, by the way, and that was a predisposition that I had between Atletico de Madrid and Real Sociedad, and Real Sociedad are leading that game by 2-1. It's the Copa del Rey final. If you do remember, Real Sociedad knocked out Athletic Bilbao in the semi-finals. Released Atletico de Madrid knocked out Barcelona to get to this stage of the competition. So really, it's a very, very significant game, one that guarantees a piece of silverware for whoever wins it at the end of 90 minutes or extra time if need be, as things stand. So I'm trying to see if I can get a feed for that particular game, and I keep tabs on it because it's one of interest, particularly to me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Good defending. Chelsea were on the risk of conceding the second, and I don't think if they dare concede the second, things will be pretty for them. I don't think it will be easy for them to pull themselves back into this game. It may turn out to be very, very difficult if they were to go behind 2-0. It will become increasingly difficult to dig themselves out of that hole, should that be the case. Jesus Christ. It pains me that I forgot or that did not care to remember when the actual kickoff of or time for this cup final was concerned, because it's the reason as why this weekend we're not having games in the Spanish La Liga, because they are playing in they wanted all the attention on the Copa del Rey final. So okay, so and Real Sociedad are leading by 2-1. Okay, let's here a few statistics for those of you that care to know. But we're into the 81st minute thereof of this game. Manchester United looking to make a double substitution for Mason Mount, a former Chelsea player, to be brought on, and Amadou Diallo to also be brought on. Amadou Diallo, whose form has not been at it, but that goal in the 43rd minute by Matas Cunha is still what separates the two sides in regards to Chelsea. Man United have had an XG of 0.29, whereas Chelsea have had thus far an XG of 1.47. They have had 3 attempts on target compared to Manchester United is only 1, 4 off target compared to Man United is only 1. So really, Chelsea have dominated possession to the tune of 60%. This is one of those games where the scoreline does not reflect the performances of either team or on the pitch, Joshua Archipong is also being brought on or has been brought on for Malo Gusto. So, I mean, that's when what kind of changes are these? Hi, Robert, how are you doing? SD here. Hi, SD. It's been a minute. How are you doing, my brother? Good to have you back. What kind of changes are these by Liam Rassinia? You're looking for a goal, and you're bringing on 2 defenders in Joshua Archipong and Trevor Chalobah for Wesley Fofana and Malo Gusto. Really? I stand to be corrected, but wouldn't it be prudent for Chelsea to make changes to the effect of attacking players, maybe fresh legs in midfield and things like that? I understand they suffered an injury for Joao Pedro, so he's absent, but you have Marcui, he's a forward. You have an Andre Santos, who is a midfielder that can be played as an attacking midfielder. Of course, they do not have so many offensive options on the bench, given that the likes of Jamie Gittens are out through injury, But nonetheless, those changes are quite suspect. Those changes are quite suspect. You'd rather they do better. I mean, okay, fair enough, because with the injuries they have, but still, you have Marcui, bring him on. Bring Andre Santos and send him in a bit of an advanced role as a second 10 to try and create more chances, better chances. So really, those changes have not made much sense to me. Manchester United have not won a game of football at Stamford Bridge since what? 2020? When they won there with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in as far as the Premier League is concerned? You know? So I find that a bit suspect. And Chelsea have lost 3 in a row, and they're on the verge of losing the 4th in a row, and the manager is making quote unquote what would pass for negative changes, you know. Moises Caicedo attempting to go from distance. Goes away at the near post. Smacked into a steward at somewhere besides the goal. Reminds me of that first half attempt from Willian Esteval that crashed the outside of the upright on its way out. Hi, everyone. For those of you that are just joining us or those that have just joined us, how are you guys doing? I hope you're all okay. Kindly leave us a like on the broadcast, but also comment down in the comment section. Let us know where you're joining us from, how your day's been. I'll be reading each and every one of your comments. Oh, no, that cannot be the case. That's the unfortunate bit with some of these things. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, we'll be talking about what's to come tomorrow in as far as the Premier League is concerned and what's transpired today. The day kicked off with a goalless draw. I had gone for a 1-1 draw between Brentford and Fulham, but nonetheless, it was still a draw. I thought Newcastle would fight their way into a draw, but they lost it at the tail end of it. Cole Palmer with that hesitation. That's not what you need. That's not what you need. Enzo Fernandez must be cramping. He has not played football in about 2 to 3 weeks. Looks like his calf is cramping. I think he rolled himself out of play to get himself out of the way if Chelsea had gotten a chance. He's just asked to be withdrawn. And that's what I was saying. Bring some fresh legs in midfield. Manchester United have withdrawn Bryan Mbeumo for Joshua Zirkzee. That means Andre Santos could be the guy that comes on for Enzo Fernandez. I think he will be fine. Yes, he's asked to be withdrawn, but he's trotting himself out. Romeo Lavia is a player that has been brought on, but you have Caicedo. He's a holding midfielder. Why are you bringing another holding midfielder when you have an Andre Santos that can play as an attacking midfielder? Unless he has an issue, I've just not understood some of those changes. Some of those changes that have been made by it only Saumia. It's my birthday. Please say happy birthday, Saumia. Happy birthday to you, Saumia. We hope you've enjoyed your day, and we hope you enjoy your new age as you make your wishes and blow your candles. Come on, Palmer. What's with the hesitation? If you're going to pull the trigger, pull the trigger. And then you're absent. How do you play a pass to your teammates and then go absent-minded? because they're easily going to play it back to you. You know, you're welcome, Saumia. Why are you joining us from Saumia? Your name sounds Tanzanian. So I'm thinking somewhere between Kenya and Tanzania, Zanzibar could be your destination. Could that be it? Oh, you retracted your comments. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Oh, okay. Was just making a guess. In case I got it wrong. Oh, meanwhile, it's 2-2 between Real Sociedad and Atletico de Madrid. Atletico de Madrid are really, really pushing for now the winning goal. How many fouls does Bruno Fernandes want to go in his favor? I'll go now. Bye. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you like the broadcast. Before you sign out, and subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. Before you sign out. Oh, Atletico de Madrid were this close to getting the third. They're so close. Alex Baena was the one at the end of it, just could not apply the finishing touch. I think the ball was crossed in by Marcos Llorente. Was it? Oh. Alex Baena could not keep it low. Diego Simeone cannot believe his sights. Oh, he hit the top. He hit the turf. What's wrong with Chelsea? Your guess is as good as mine, Rio Dandy. Your guess is as good as mine. But in as far as this particular game is concerned, they've just failed to convert their chances. They have created the chances. They've not been clinical with them. We had William Estaval had an attempt across the outside of the post. In the second half, twice they hit the woodwork, and that's being a bit unlucky, But they've dominated all the key aspects of the game. They've been dominant on the ball. They've been dominant in the offensive duties, trying to create those chances, but it's just not falling for them. It's just not falling for them. Sometimes it's one of those, like I said, it's one of those days where the performance does not reflect the result, But also, I desire to see more in the likes of Cole Palmer in, let's say, shooting from the outside. For example, they've had 21 attempts on goal, and about, I think, 3 or 4 have been on target. Manchester United have only had 4, and only 1 has been on target. So if you are to put it in simple terms, you would say the best team lost on the day. This is the best lineup Chelsea can come up with, but still we lost. Exactly. With the context of their injuries and because the likes of Joao Pedro being out, Rachel James, Levi Colwill, etc., and all those sorts of players, this is the best they could field. However, I have taken concern with some of the poor substitutions that Liam Rosenior has made in this game, because you're 1-0 down, and the other substitutions you're making is that you're withdrawing a right back in Malo Gusto for another right back. In Joshua Achepong, you're withdrawing a centre back in Wesley Fofana for Trevor Chalobah. And you're leaving the likes of Andre Santos on the bench. You're leaving the likes of Mark Gui on the bench. Mark Gui is a striker. Andre Santos is is a midfielder who can play for you as an attacking midfielder. So please, somebody help me understand the rationale of those changes, especially for a team that is looking for a goal. Make it make sense. You know, make it make sense. Because for me, it doesn't. You know, Saumia says, I'm back. Okay. Rio Dandy says, I really miss Drogba, Lampard, Czech, Ashley Cole, and Terry. Unfortunately, we cannot, neither of us is prophetic enough or even close to a demigod to rewind the clocks. So it has to be what it is. Chelsea really needs center backs and some experienced attackers. In this particular case, it's not been a defensive problem. They've created the chances, they've not been clinical with them. When you say experienced attackers, that I certainly agree with you, because when you look at their wingers, you have Willian Estaval, you have Jamie Gittens, you have Alejandro Garnacho, you're expecting to receive a Jovan Quenda, and, you know, basically, you could argue that I must say, I've spent the entire weekend not expecting Man United to win this game. That's and my skepticism in the idea that they would win this game lay or was banked on the inefficiencies they had in the backline. Had you failed to score against a backline of Mazraoui and Aiden Heaven, you know, had you failed with that, Kobbie Mainoo, until yesterday, he was a doubt for this game. So you anticipate his fitness was not 100%. They put him in there and he had a good game. But somehow, Chelsea could not find a way through. Mono Rail System says, what's your favorite fruit? Maybe jackfruit. Maybe. Why didn't Chelsea buy Chucky Reinders? Manchester City are so clinical. Now, I mean, that's easier said than done, but because look at Tidjane Reinders. At the start of the season, he was one of Manchester City's architects. By the tail end of the season, actually by halfway the season, he was far from it. In fact, sometimes we talk about Manchester City and even forget about Tidjane Reinders. But maybe that speaks to the sort of depth in quality and that Manchester City have in their squad. Then Ryan Chucky is also another youngster who, yes, he has had a good season with Manchester City, but there's no guarantees that he would have had that good a season with Chelsea, because also, forget not who is in the dugout on the other side. Pep Guardiola, if anything, is one of the managers that are really, really good at bringing out the best in players, putting them in systems where they can thrive. You know, as part of a forum today, okay, not part of, listening into a forum today, and somebody was making the argument that a good number of Manchester City players struggle when they go away for national duty. And the reason for that is because Pep Guardiola puts them in systems that bring out the best out of them, yet when they go away to national team duty, the same is not replicated. Whereas it is subjective, because I do not think Bernardo Silva is poor with Portugal. I do not think Ruben Diaz would be with Portugal. I do not think Matheus Nunes doesn't start with Portugal. But Erling Haaland starts with Norway. He's one of he's their best player and things like that. I'm trying to think. Tidjane Reinders with the Dutch national team is only joined. Jeremy Doku with Belgium national team. I mean, he's more or less the same. What he does, the Belgium national team is not different from what he does at Manchester City. You know, you say Manchester City didn't even buy Guehi. He is so didn't. They bought him in January For me, by the way, the story of McKay, I remember in the summer while I was speaking about it constantly, and I kept thinking to myself, why are Chelsea prioritizing the signing of Joel Hato when there is a McKay? When we know that they needed a centre back? Of course, maybe to their reservation was that they had so many in numbers, because Chelsea are not short of centre backs. They have Levi Colwill, who has been out for the majority of the season through injury, Wesley Fofana, Trevor Chalobah, Benoit Badiashile, Tosin Aderabio, and at the time, Axel Disasi was still with the team. So, but nonetheless, it was quite evident that they needed somebody with experience. They need somebody with leadership in the backline. These are the kind of things that the likes of Marco Correa have been highlighting. And really, the club is hell-bent on cautioning them for expressing their views on what literally is a public secret. So there's that. So, and when it comes to McKay, I think the story is still the same for me when it comes to even when it comes to Liverpool as well. I kept thinking, why are Liverpool not? I mean, to their credit, they tried to sign him, but that was literally on deadline day, so the deal fell through after even a goodbye video had been done, I think, with Crystal Palace, and I'm led to believe that almost one to welcome him was close to being done at Liverpool, but the deal fell through, and then that's how Joe Gomez got to stay at Liverpool, because he was destined for a move to AC Milan. That's how things fell apart on deadline day. Then come January, and Liverpool did not make their move. Liverpool did not make their move. And I was there thinking to myself, why are Liverpool still not making the move? They went and agreed a deal for another young centre-back in Jeremy Jacquet from Stade Rennes. He's what, a 20-year-old? In addition to a Giovanni Leoni who came in, youngster, suffered, unfortunately, I think, an anterior cruciate ligament injury that has kept him out for the remainder of the season. I think he suffered that, was it in an FA Cup game or a Carabao Cup game against Southampton? One of those, So now, as we speak, Liverpool are interested in signing Senesi from FC Bournemouth. They start. Manchester City realized, okay, we have lost, because at the time, by the time of the January transfer window, one, they were without Joško Gvardiol. He remains out through injury. Ruben Diaz was out through injury. I think they were playing with Koshanov and Max Alenia as their centre backs. Nathan Ake was out through injury, so they decided, well, let's make the move. Anna Slot bold header says, yo Anna Slot, how are you doing? Why do you call yourself Anna Slot? Are you an Anna Slot enthusiast? Rio Dandy says Chalobah is still okay, but Hato, because he's young, he's what, 21? Predominantly, he's been played as a left back. Yes, he can play centre back as well, but let's be honest. And that's the thing about young players. They can be good, really, really good. But when it comes to the stretch of the season, which is a marathon, they're bound to fall short. They're going to cost you points. Anna Slot says, I'm Mariam, bro. Do you remember me? Mariam from Egypt? Because that's the Mariam I remember, the one from Egypt. So I don't know if you're the one, So, and I'm thinking, so you assess the situation with Chelsea, and it's likely been said that so the other day when they went away for the March international break, Marco Correa spoke to the Athletic while in Spain, and he said yes, he understands that the youngsters of today will play games, a lot of games, and be the experienced players of tomorrow, but as a team they need senior players. And based on that, okay, not based on his interview, but I think Chelsea have equally come to the same conclusion. And Graham Potter kept saying this. You know, Mauricio Pochettino, that's what he told them. And that was their line of departure from what I've been led to believe. His view was, in the assessment after his debut campaign, which was the 2023-2024 season, I think they finished 6th, Chelsea. And in his assessment, he was thinking, okay, look here, guys, we need some experienced players in this team. And Todibori, Egbali, and their minders decided, nah, this one, he doesn't know what we're trying to do here. And they went ahead and bought more youngsters. William Estaval, Jamie Gittens, Liam Delap. I mean, he's only had one campaign with Ipswich, for goodness sake. You know? Then when you look at majority of those players that have come in, Jovan Queda, Dario Esugo, these are all youngsters. Even when they managed to get, was it Facundo Benanote on loan from Brighton? You know? So you need a blend of experience. Now, unfortunately for them, their only experienced player in their backline, particularly who is Tosin Aderabio, is not a regular starter, and he's not lived to the bidding. Because tell me why a 28-year-old Tosin Aderabio, with his experience, has to sit on the bench while a Jorel Hato starts. You know, Chelsea's best centre-back pairing is Wesley Fofana and Levi Colwill, but they struggle with injuries. Until that changes, they're bound to struggle. When you look at their attack or forward lines, you know, Ugandan friend, read my comments. I've not skipped any of your comments. I saw your response about the yes and Egypt. And you know, so those are the only ones that I hadn't read. But in ideally, I'd read them, unless you did hear me. But you know, I responded to them by saying, guess I was right. Mason Mount should F off million times. Okay. Rio Dandy, I did not get clearly the comment about Mason Mount particularly. But that's all to say that when you look at Chelsea's attack line, Joao Pedro looks to be the second most experienced player after only 2 seasons in the Premier League. He's what, 23, 24? The most experienced is Pedro Neto. You know? And you look at it and think to yourself, is that good enough? No. Then somehow they deluded themselves into parting ways with Nicholas Jackson. I've looked at Chelsea this entire season and I'm thinking to myself, in what world was their imagination that a guy who had given them, I think, what was it? Because I think he had a 15-goal contribution in his debut campaign. And then around the same ballpark when he came to the second season, you know? But they figured, we'll let go of Nicholas Jackson. And then after all, we've managed to bring in, what's his name? Liam Delap, and we'll be okay. Well, I guess you have to take a bet on yourself, but that pretty much has not worked out the entire season. It's not. You know? And it's part of the reason as to why Chelsea are struggling. Sometimes they lack that departmental leadership. When I talk about departmental leadership, is that you need a leader in your back line, you need a leader in your midfield, and you need a leader in your forward line. Somebody that is going to provide leadership in those, particularly in the back line and in the midfield. Those 2 departments are very, very crucial, because your organization behind is really, really important. Rio Dandy says, I hate Mason Mounts, such a diabolical rage bait. Oh, he was playing against his former team. He's going to do those things. He's going to do those things. You are bound to see them. Mariam says, Mariam had a question asking that which team do you support? But Mariam, I've told you the teams I support before. You know, I've told you Real Madrid, I've told you Arsenal, I've told you the Brazil national team and the Ghana Cranes. You know, oh, we're into extra time for the Copa del Rey final, and Real Sociedad are really, really pushing to win that one. So, I mean, yes, Mariam, yes. The way he was acting in Stamford Bridge, such an idiot. I mean, I don't know under the circumstances or conditions that led to his leaving back in 2023, because I remember he left around the same time when Arsenal acquired Kai Havertz. But looks like, I don't know if it's in response to what he thought Garnacho, the kind of antics he would have pulled off if he were at Old Trafford, you know, even though I'm not inclined to believe that would be the case, you know. You say Liverpool believed in what? You know? So really, Chelsea have made so many transfer mistakes, in my humble opinion, by the way. And unfortunately, when it comes to transfer mistakes, you make them in the market and pay for them on the pitch. You know, you make them in the market and pay for them on the pitch. That's what happens. So I think in his debut campaign, Nicholas Jackson scored 15 goals and I think provided 5 assists. No, 14 goals and probably 5 assists. Then the subsequent season, he scored about, let me see, about 10 goals and provided 5 assists, thereabout. Because that's in 65 appearances, his goal contribution was 34. Now, has Liam Delap has not even delivered half of that. Not half of the 34 goal involvement, but half of Nicholas Jackson's goal contribution in his debut campaign. You know? So that's quite some mistake. How much was Garnacho? 75? No. He was only 40 million pounds. And in fact, according to multiple reports, Chelsea are willing to cash in on him. What would that speak to? Another regrettable transfer, or one that hasn't worked out, but it's only been one season. Look at Jamie Gittens. Unfortunately for him, injuries have done a number on him across the entire campaign. But again, when he's been brought on, have you felt that he can be the difference maker? It hasn't felt that way. Now, next season, we are waiting for another youngster in Jovan Quenda, who has not had a brilliant season because partly he's been injured as well with a Sporting CP. You know? So, Chelsea, now that they've been beaten by a goal to nil, the situation that they find themselves in is quite precarious because they are bound to miss out on Champions League football. And Atletico de Madrid, through Julian Alvarez, just hit the crossbar. They are looking for that goal that breaks the tie that separates the tie. It's still 2-2. We're into extra time. But quite the attempt. So, I was still talking about Chelsea. They are bound to miss out on Champions League football, and the implication that will have will be how they behave in the market, because they have to do a clearance sale before they even bring in players. And when it comes to a clearance sale, you're looking to part ways with some of those goalkeepers that are on Chelsea's roster. You're looking to part ways with Benoit Badiashile, Axel Disasi, because he's only on loan to West Ham. I'll be parting ways with Tosin Aderabio. I'd keep Joshua Chepong, Jorel Hato, Levi Colwill, and Wesley Fofana, and then make an addition. You know? Then I'm thinking to myself, they need a creative midfielder. They're not quite very common, by the way, when you look around. But you ought to scan the market, because they have Darius Sugo, they have Levi Colwill, they have Moises Caicedo. All those can play for you as sixes. In addition to Richie James having the capabilities of playing for you in midfield. You have Enzo Fernandez, you have Andre Santos, all those are central midfielders. But when it comes to the creative role, the role that Cole Palmer occupies, when Cole Palmer does not sneeze, there's no breathing for Chelsea. Their noses are clogged. They struggle to create chances. Then, on the left wing, they need somebody experienced. Willian Esteban, good as he is, should be coming off the bench to impact games. Should be starting maybe 10 Premier League games out of the 38. And then the other senior player starts the 28, depending on fitness and form. You know? So, those kinds of things. So, Chelsea have a lot to do. And by the way, even their midfielders, I for one would be looking to part ways with some of those. Darius Sugo will be going out of the window. Romeo Lavia, if I can find a buyer, goodbye. Very talented player. Injuries have done a number on him. You know? One of the hallmarks of a good player is availability. So for as long as you have the talent, but you're almost never available, you're not going to be good enough. You're not going to be exceptional. You know? Because your absence does not help the team. You only help the team with your availability. And unfortunately, that's not the case for Romeo Lavia. He will come and play 1 to 3 games, maybe at best 4, and he's out injured. You know, and he'll miss a good chunk of them. Anyways, away from Chelsea and their loss to Man United by 1-0. Earlier on, Brentford shared the spoils with Fulham in a goalless draw. Bernard Leno had a brilliant save in that one very late on in the game to deny Brentford, but Kelleher was voted the man of the match. So that tells you perhaps maybe that. But then again, Fulham did not have a shot on target, unfortunately. Yet Brentford had 4. Their XG was 0.7. You know? But yeah, like I said, our prediction had been a 1-all draw in that one. Then Leeds, my prediction had been a 3-1 victory for Leeds against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Unfortunately for them, the Wolves could not find the back of the net. Leeds managed to beat them by 3-0. Goals from James Justin, Anua Okafor, and a late penalty from Dominic Calvert-Lewin were the goals that separated the two sides. As Leeds, and a very, very crucial, massive 3 points. Those 3 points are as big as the 3 points they garnered away at Old Trafford. You know, that's how important they are, because that result puts Leeds United, I think, about 8 points clear of Tottenham Hotspur, because Tottenham Hotspur shared the spoils in a 2-2 draw in their game. So we're going to have a look at the Premier League table, but the significance of those 3 points is absolutely massive for Daniel Fekir's side. And a part of me likes Daniel Fekir because of the brand of football that he does play. He plays this expansive, attacking football. And I remember he got promoted with Norwich City, and then they got relegated. Now, I remember that season, unfortunately for him, he was too stubborn to sort of to adapt. He was too stubborn to change his system, and they ended up conceding lots of goals, and he came with the same stubbornness even into this season with Leeds United, until at some point when he decided, oh no, I need to switch to a back three and play with a 3-4-2-1 kind of system with Dominic Calvert-Lewin as his sole attacker, and then play with this number 10s and then what you call the wing backs, Gabriel Goodmanson in among those, you know. So really, that those 3 points are going to be massive in the battle for safety. It's not yet over for them, but they just gave themselves a very, very good chance of staying up by winning that. You know, they just gave themselves a very, very good chance by winning that. But James Justin's acrobatic goal was really, really, really brilliant. Meanwhile, the game has going into the second half of extra time. That's a game between Atletico de Madrid and Real Sociedad for the finals of the Copa del Rey. I hate penalties. I wouldn't want the game to go to penalties. But also, whereas oftentimes between big sides, between a big side and a small side, I prefer to support the underdog. I'm one of those people that has always wished well for Diego Simeone. I'm one of those who has always wished him well. I really, really like it when he competes well and he's winning. Obviously, next week, I won't be on his side when they entertain Arsenal, you know. But Wolverhampton Wanderers really, really defended poorly in that second goal, you know. So yeah, Leeds are with a brilliant victory that from Elland Road, and it will mean the world to them. So in other words, they need to win about maybe 2 more games, and they'll be safe out of the 5 remaining. But even that, it's not it's not like a must that they must win those those two. They could still win one, but just to be more or less guaranteed that they need to win two. They could win one out of the next 5 and still survive. Because trust me, Wolves are not recovering, and Burnley are not surviving the drop. Those two are not surviving. So the question remains, who takes the third slot? Is it Tottenham? Is it West Ham? Is it Nottingham Forest? You have those three before you get to Leeds. That's why tomorrow's game for Nottingham Forest against Burnley is very, very crucial that Nottingham Forest win it. It's very, very pivotal or very important that Nottingham Forest win it, because they too need to stay clear of Tottenham Hotspurs. West Ham are going to be in action, I think, on Monday Night Football against Crystal Palace. Now, again, there, West Ham will need to be at the top of their game. They need to beat Crystal Palace to also guarantee their own safety. Winning against Crystal Palace does not guarantee it that you're safe, but it gives you a fighting chance. You ought to keep fighting, because fortunately for West Ham, they just need to win all their remaining games and guarantee their safety. Really, Tottenham Hotspurs, who are their chasers, need to win all their remaining games and pray that West Ham falter. So there's that. So that means it's not within their control, and therefore it puts them at a disadvantage. So really, it's something for them to ponder about. But okay, let's move on to the other results in as far as this weekend was concerned. We had Newcastle losing to FC Bournemouth by 2-1. Again, not the kind of prediction that I would have had. My prediction, I think, had been a 1-1 draw for the two sides, if not 2-2. I stand to be corrected. I struggle to remember my predictions if I do not note them down. But Bournemouth are now 13 games unbeaten, with a manager that is leaving the club at the end of the season. In fact, Bournemouth have already found a replacement for him in Marco Rose, former Borussia Mönchengladbach, Dortmund, RB Leipzig head coach. And Newcastle have suffered 4 consecutive defeats against Barcelona, against Sunderland, against Bournemouth. The other was against who? I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember the other game they lost. Against Everton, yes. So Eddie Howe is a man under pressure. Is a man under pressure. His role will be reviewed at the end of the season. And Raymond Kangumba, with his routine comment, still surprised he's not yet here with us. He's always asking for his sacking. He's always asking for his sacking. We'll simply have to wait and see. We'll simply have to wait and see. But Ed Howe, his job may be on the line, because if you're Newcastle, you're thinking that maybe he's brought the project thus far. And you look outwards and think maybe you go for a Xabi Alonso, maybe you go for, I don't know if Enzo Maresca would be open to joining you, but Enzo Maresca is a kind of manager who has his sights on the Manchester City job. That should Pep Guardiola walk away anytime, he's eyeing that job. He's eyeing that job. So he's not sort of a bankable asset in the longevity of it, because he could be 1-2 seasons in, and actually 1 season in, because Pep Guardiola's contract runs out next season formally. He could leave at the end of this one, but formally runs out next. No, but then you leave. If you were to appoint Enzo Maresca, you'd live with a guy who busy thinking, as soon as Man City walk in, I'm going. Maybe you take a bet on Xabi Alonso. Then maybe you think of Xavi Hernandez. Would he be open to a project like the Newcastle project? I do not know. I do not know. So then Andoni Iraola is there. And by the way, speak of Andoni Iraola, in recent weeks, rumors had come out suggesting that Newcastle were targeting Andoni Iraola, but also Crystal Palace have been linked with a potential move for Andoni Iraola as well. Manchester United's job, we are still not certain whether it's going to be for Michael Carrick or otherwise. So far, he's in the driving seat of things. And for those of you that are regulars on the channel, you know for a fact that we did a video about Michael Carrick being the leading candidate for that role. That's not changed. So anyways, so Newcastle lost by 2-1 against FC Bournemouth. And, the Premier League, just like any other league, has its party spoilers. And teams like AFC Bournemouth are one of those. I call them party spoilers because they come up at the tail end of the season with very little to fight for, and they are sort of they sort of pick points off of teams that have everything to fight for. Look at FC Bournemouth beating Arsenal last weekend. Arsenal fighting for a Premier League title. Bournemouth, their ambitions were unbeknown to them up until this stage. Maybe they are thinking, yeah, we keep fighting, we could get a chance at qualifying for Europe. Maybe we qualify for the UEFA Conference League. But nonetheless, Arsenal's ambitions will be bigger. But it's not a sport of, do me a favor, I'll do you a favor. You must fight for yourself. So really, you must think of it that way. So then, in the other game, we had the 2-2 draw between Tottenham Hotspur and Brighton and Hove Albion. Now, Xavi Simons scored somewhere around the 70-something minutes, and he thought perhaps he had won it for Tottenham. But then in the 95th minute, they conceded an equalizer, and that's how they dropped 3 points. They dropped 2 crucial points. They had given themselves a fighting chance. They went through Pedro Porro, and then Kaoru Mitoma scored a stunning goal on the half volley, and it was 1-1. But to be fair, Tottenham Hotspur have looked much better in these 2 games, despite losing to Sunderland. And this draw, they've looked slightly better than they were looking under their 2 previous managers. Very early on in the game, they had a penalty appeal when Destin Udogie was brought in the area, but it was not given. It was not given. So it was a good game to watch. I did not watch the final minutes of the game. I think I'd taken a walk somewhere to get something done, but nonetheless, first of all, they were giving away chances to Tottenham Hotspur, but they were creating them on the other end. So Xavi Simons provided the assist for Pedro Porro's goal, and he scored the other. And as soon as they conceded that late equalizer, you could see the disappointment on his face. You could see the disappointment on his face, sorry. But prior to that, in the first half, he had hit the base of the upright. He placed the ball beyond the reach of Bart Verbruggen. But unfortunately for him, it hit the base of the upright and came out. And the rebound, I think, fell to Randall Kolmwani, who blazed it over the bar. He went for power over precision. You know? But Kaoru Mitoma's equalizer is one that you should really, really look at. He's capable of many of those moments. He just doesn't, they just do not come repetitively enough for him in Kaoru Mitoma. You know? So, as unfortunate as it sounds, Tottenham still have a long way to go. Otherwise, relegation is staring down them in the face. You know? So we just have to wait and see where it all lands. Meanwhile, we are yet to find the breakthrough in that Copa del Rey final. It's still 2-2. So with only a few minutes left to play, we look bound for penalties, or destined for penalties. Xavi Simon's goal came in the 77th minute. But the level of celebrations, I don't know if the celebration policy is going to be out for him. We're similar to that, as though he had scored the goal that had steered them to safety out of relegation on the final day of the season. It was a brilliant goal because it hits the inside of the upright before it goes into the back of the net. Unfortunately for Tottenham, they decided to be Spazzy because Kevin Danso, tell me why you're not kicking that ball outside in the corner. And they conceded in the 95th minute of the game, in a game where 8 minutes had been added. You know? So it was never meant to be. So it finished 2-2. And that's how Tottenham missed out and dropped those 3 crucial points. So once again, it puts them at 31 points. West Ham are at 32. They play against Crystal Palace on Monday. Nottingham Forest are at 33 in 16th place. They play Burnley tomorrow. Burnley are 19th with 20 points. Leeds United in 15th place have 39 points, 3 points behind Newcastle in 14th place. Newcastle have been thus far this season. So, and then on the other side, Manchester United have moved to 58 points. Aston Villa play at home against Sunderland tomorrow. So there is that. We are waiting. So anyways, guys, allow me wrap this conversation tonight here and wish you a wonderful rest of the weekend. I think it's been a pleasure doing this with you. Rio Dundee, Anna Slot's bold header. Then who else? It's Saumia, as well as Lisa and SD. It's been a pleasure doing this with all of you. Those of you that managed to join us for this evening's broadcast. Tomorrow, being a Sunday, we have no morning broadcast as is our routine. So we'll look forward to doing a Sunday night broadcast. I wish you the best of luck with your respective teams if they are yet to play, and a wonderful rest of the weekend. I'm off to see the penalties, possibly, of the Copa del Rey final because it's still 2-2 in the last minute of stoppage of extra time. So looks like we're destined for penalties. Good night and bye-bye for now.